everyone. It's Michael and
Matt.
and
Ruben.
from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au. Somehow bringing you Friday.
Unbelievable. Who would have thought, now that you're back in the hot seat, I thought we would have been much more organised, Michael. What is the story?
Serious wheels falling off.
Well, that suggests the wheels were ever on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they were today. Unbelievable.
Just constant lines, I'm going to say. That's kept getting dragged into the store, and it's just lines and lines of people after bullion.
Yeah, it was a quiet morning. Like when I got here at about 6 o'clock this morning, there was no one.
Yeah, before we opened, unreal. Who would have thought?
And after that, it all went downhill. So no, it's been great. It's been a good day. I got to say, I've had a lot of love from the customers today. There's been a lot of positive comments. It's been one of those positive days, and even in the chat here, there's a couple of people. Dark Hearts is saying thanks for the storage, and there was a couple of other comments earlier on. So I think it's been a really good day.
Yeah, anytime things got heated, you had to duck out for something.
Yeah, well,
It's been good. But speaking of getting heated, you've been over at the Royal Mint, as I understand it, Michael.
We're not launching off with that, are we?
Why not?
Well, you've got a lot to answer for. I was expecting some explosive interviews and the like from your trip over there. So what's the setup?
Need to walk back just a fraction
I
because
was throwing up your photos again. Hang on, sorry, let me come back to you.
I never sent you the other photos.
Nope.
That's why it got a bit chaotic. I forgot to do that. No, I need to throw an apology to James, who's on our live chat, although I haven't seen him in today. James, who's in the UK, who I said I would try and catch up with. I fresh aired him. I never got to actually catch up with him.
Unreal.
So
disappointed.
Do need to apologise for that. Greg Clark's not far off right. I can't say it was a friendly or an aggressive welcome, because it was a no welcome at all.
Jeez.
They just totally wouldn't communicate, wouldn't touch base, wouldn't return calls, wouldn't return emails. Yeah, it was a very frosty reception. We'll put it that way.
There you go. Well, everyone, we tried. Royal Mint. Not having a bar of us.
Travelled halfway around the world to come and see them, and they weren't interested. So I can't really fill us in on any good goss out of there.
That's a bit rough.
Surely
something happened. You were gone for so long, Michael. Any excitement to report?
Yeah, look, it was a really good trip, I got to say. So kicked off in London, had a bit of a business conference that I wanted to attend there. Then shot over to Essex for a little while. James, there he is. Sorry, mate, missed you over there. Shot off to Essex for a very short period, then went up to Oxford. I hadn't realised I've never done Oxford before. It's beautiful.
Right, okay.
It's a really stunning little spot of the world.
More to it besides a university?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely, next trip back, I think I'm going to hang out in Oxford for a few days and possibly even take a river trip. They've got river boats there.
Yeah.
So,
very
really
good.
Then shot over to the Cotswolds, beautiful area of the world.
You've pretty much done the whole thing.
Yeah, then up into Wales, and then shot over to Wortley.
Wow.
Centre of the UK.
Yeah.
Beautiful little, like the stereotypical little English village.
So it's like the Tassie of the UK?
No, it's
So
like,
it is a happening place?
It's like the Ballara of the UK. Like, it's tiny.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But absolutely beautiful spot. And I love, it's got, I don't know, it might have a dozen houses in the town.
Yeah.
And it's got a pub that's 600, 700, 800 years old.
Yeah.
And then it's got a general store, and it's got a church. And I've got this really strange twist to me where I love wandering around cemeteries just looking at the age of the tombs. And you go into the UK and, there's tombs there that are 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 years old.
Yeah.
Some of them are so old they're weather beaten and you can barely read the inscriptions on them. So that was I actually got 2 days there, so I got a bit of time to wander around. And I love something the UK. It'd drive me nuts if I was a farmer over there, but something I love about the UK is that you can just go wandering around the paddocks.
It's not like a private thing where you...
Well, I mean, there are. Like, there's some paddocks that are certainly private, but you'll just come across these, what they call public footpaths. So there's no footpath there. It's just straight across some random farmer's paddock. And
good.
It's just brilliant. So, yeah, a bit of time in Wortley and then went up to Edinburgh. So,
Wow,
in
we.
Scotland.
Oh, very good. Never a dull moment.
No. And I got to say, Scotland, Edinburgh particularly, you do a stunning apple cider.
Really?
It's called Thistly something or other, and I wish I'd taken a photo of it, but it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, keep an eye out.
What was your? I'm going to take you back to the Royal Mint for a second, just to keep it on somewhat bullion track. A lot of what were your thoughts on kind of the obviously besides the reception you got from people there, but what was your thoughts on the reception of the building and things like that? Because a lot of people, based on the photos you sent us, were saying massive like prison vibes.
It looks bleak.
Look, you got to remember what it is. You know, they needed some decent security around it. Is that the only photo I sent you?
There was some others, but I think they made it look more like a prison. I think that was the most friendly one with a welcome sign or whatever that I had.
You absolutely go through the prison gates, and then
I threw up Sean the sheep. I thought he was a nice, friendly, welcome mascot. But
you go left from there, like the pathway swings to the left, and then you go to. I mean, it's probably a big industrial shed, but it presents really well. I got to say that they haven't done the dodge or anything like that. Hey, Black Kyle, how you doing? So look, it looks great. It doesn't look like a prison once you're inside.
Mr. Variable was saying the barbed wire wasn't there before you was actually put up.
So they did get your emails
That
and
would
your phone
explain the
calls.
tank out the front. No. Thistly Cross cider, that's the one. Jeez, it's good stuff. I'm dribbling a bit already just thinking about it. But no, it's actually quite a pretty little mint as far as mints go. Obviously, very high security all the way around it, though. So, yeah.
Do you get to see anything? Like at the Royal Australian Mint, you can go walk through that walkway and you look down on the production floor and all that sort of jazz?
I didn't, but I didn't actually get a lot of time there. So
they pushed you out pretty quick?
Well, yeah. So look, it was good. I was disappointed they didn't meet with me, but, you can't, and they're probably busy people. You can't have everything, so...
Well, this is true. If Bullion Now is anything to go by in terms of busyness, multiply that by 10, perhaps that's the Royal Mint. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Well, more notice next time.
Belfast Child seems to be saying that dispatch has slowed down. If you give us a call, mate, or send us an email, we'll chase up where it is, because as far as I'm aware, dispatch isn't actually that far behind. I don't think they're behind at all, actually. So I'm just a little surprised that you haven't received a tracking number on it yet. So it might be worth just giving us a call, 1300 84 84 10, or flipping us an email, sales@bullionnow.com.au, and one of us will chase up where it is and get back to you. We deal with so many orders that every so often, and I shouldn't admit this publicly, but every so often one slips between the cracks, and it'd be good to make sure that yours hasn't slipped through the cracks. It's maybe there's another reason it's been slowed down. But yeah, just check in with us with your invoice number so we can chase it up.
We've got Greg Clark in chat. Closing my office door now for my regular Do Not Disturb administration time. Time for the Bullion Now live stream. Do not disturb.
Yeah, it's a big event. Get around it. I see we've got a OC stacker coming all the way from Orange County, California.
Hey.
Jeez, this is exciting, seeing some international supporters.
Yeah, nice warm area of the world, Orange County.
We've got Andrew and Kath that we met up with in Sydney. So just hopped off the ship from PNG and back watching after 2 Fridays missed and little reception. I think you guys sent through some photos. I haven't had a chance to organise much this stream, but I think you sent through some photos for us. So potentially if I get myself organised midstream, I'll try and pull those up. But yeah, pleasure to have you tuning in as well.
Yeah. These guys travel around quite a bit. And going to some beautiful areas. So I'd love to see those. Love to see those photos.
I'm fairly sure there was an airstrip in there specifically for you as well.
Hey, look out!
A tiny little airstrip on one of the conflict islands.
Yeah, there's some dodgy airstrips up there. I know there's one that used to go to up in PNG, and it's a one-way strip, and you take off downhill. You have to swing right around the boulder. It's because this massive boulder in the middle of the runway, and then you actually fall off the edge of the cliff before you get to flying speed, and you effectively fall down into this canyon, building up flying speed before you pull out and and fly away. And the first time you do it, I tell you what, you're biting the buttons off the cushions. It's horrifying, but after that, you kind of get the hang of it. But yeah.
Yeah,
Who's designing that runway? Someone sit down and say, well, there's a huge boulder there. We're going to have to just steer around that.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there's something for everyone.
When you've got mountains like you have up in PNG, you kind of make do with what you've got. But I got to say, that one always grabbed my attention.
Wow-wee. What's been happening in the bullion world? It's been an exciting week of releases. There's been a bit happening. I saw Kiss coins that were unboxed the other day with a very interesting thumbnail.
Nah.
I thought we got Gene Simmons in for a little cameo. Jeez, imagine that. I wonder what he charges for a 5-minute unboxing.
For Bullion Now, mate, he'd be in just for a,
give him some
coin.
exposure. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Oh dear.
I've got those photos from PNG, or a couple
Whoa.
of them anyway. So looking
cool.
lovely, and a little BN bag presenting in both of them there.
Mate, that's almost an international airport, that one.
Yeah, is that one a bit more built up than you expected?
Yeah. I love the water up there, though. Some of those areas, they're just,
wow.
Just out of a postcard, isn't it?
Yeah. We should talk some bullion, though.
We should. Well, I tried to bring up the Kiss release, and then we got sidetracked.
Yeah, I had to bring that up.
Yeah, that is cool, though.
Appreciate the email through. I just feel really
particularly,
bad that I
if
haven't,
you can
been organised.
Sneak a BN bag into your holiday snaps.
Yeah, exactly.
We're always happy to see it.
Dedication.
That's right. Look, going back to the Kiss coins, I don't know how I feel. Like
what are you talking about? I watched the video. You were fired up.
He was
No,
Motley.
look,
He was
yeah,
a
now you
secret
changed-
Motley Crue fan.
Yeah, like I said, I'm looking for the Motley Crue coin, but look, I don't know how I feel about these coins.
Why? What do you mean?
I don't know.
You feel like your bullion purist is coming out of you, and you don't like the commercial nature of them?
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know how do you feel about them?
I think they're super cool. I think it presents a nice crossover. Because I try to look at things. Sorry, Ruben, I'm always moving.
Even
when I'm not even moving that much, and I'm getting out of focus.
You're fine.
If you're listening on Spotify, the camera on me has an autofocus, and I bounce around a bit, so I always go out of focus.
He's like that squirrel on Over the Hedge.
Yeah, 100%. The thing I like to think about is I view a release like that as an opportunity. So you may have someone who is a Kiss, a member of the Kiss army who receives it as a gift. Next minute, they start to wonder, all right, well, why is this made of silver? What's the story? Yeah. Slip down the rabbit hole. All of a sudden, you end up on a Bullion Now live video. Next minute, you're a stacker and you're thinking about your financial situation in a different sense.
Yeah,
but
I suppose so.
Maybe I'm drawing a long bow because I did think, and as Ruben mentioned, I like the idea of almost little privy marks of each of the members. I thought the design, the way they put it together, it was really well thought out. It didn't feel like just a slap together last minute thing where, the designer had one foot out the door to the pub and said, I forgot I got to do this Kiss thing.
It's 10 to 5 on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I thought it was good. But so you're not happy with the music industry infiltrating bullion?
No, I don't know. Look, as I said on that video, I really appreciated the design. I thought a lot of thought had gone into it.
Well, we've seen a bit of it. We've seen there was an AC/DC one. We've had Elton John. I think there was a Queen one.
Yeah,
we've seen Fender.
Did a whole series.
Yeah, we've seen Fender jump in with some of their like guitar shaped and amp shaped
the
ones.
PAM stuff. Yeah.
So there's been quite a little bit of a soiree into the music industry lately.
There's actually a rumor,
a
very strong rumor, that we actually have some silver Kiss guitar picks.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what
Just
was
a
happening
rumor.
with those.
It's a very strong rumor.
Well, okay. Have you started it? Is this like my rumours that I said at the State Library?
No.
Cool.
So, I don't know what we're going to do with those. We've got to work it out. Look, I don't know. I'm a bit on the... I guess I don't want it... I can see the advantages to commercialisation of these things, and I can also see the purist side of me that's, kind of going, well, that's...
Just enjoy the music.
Yeah, I don't know. We're looking at ordering in some Coca-Cola coins.
Oh, I did see those.
Okay.
They're really cool, but you just I don't know where it starts and where it ends.
Well, you're right, because it is, for me, it's a nice blend of a stacker, an opportunity for a stacker, but you can also enjoy a limited mintage with potentially a little bit of a collectability component to it. But I see your point, but I think you can sit nicely in the middle ground between the full-on numismatic stuff and your stock standard kangaroos. I think it represents a nice middle ground. But I see how it's almost like a whole new industry in that sense.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way.
Look, I think the Kiss coin in and of itself is good. I think my concern is where they flog them to death. So not picking on anyone individually, although I'm about to.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, as an example, I kind of feel a little bit like the Star Wars coins.
Oh,
They've kind of flogged that to death.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm trying to get at is there comes a point where you go, are you kidding me here? Another one?
Yeah.
Really?
Go for quality, not quantity.
Yeah,
You're now highlighting each individual stormtrooper from the entire army.
Yeah, and each facial expression that they have. Yeah. It's getting ridiculous. So
I think that's a valid point that you make, and I think the solution to that would be to limit it to major milestones only. For instance, this Kiss coin. All right, it's the 50th anniversary. It's the end of the line tour. It's a big, momentous occasion. Call it a day. But if we know Gene Simmons at all, we may end up seeing each member get their own coin, each album get its own coin.
And then the 51st anniversary.
And
then the 51st and a half.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I guess it's probably a case of, depending on how much you have to pay for the licensing, that will influence how hard you need to push the product to make it a viable project. Yeah. And with something like Star Wars, wouldn't be
look,
cheap.
that is the problem. I know we looked at producing some licensed products a few years ago, and it was really difficult to get across to the companies because they would say, well, that's fine. We just want, $1 from every one that you make, because they're used to dealing with, someone will go in and say, look, I want to use your design. I want your license to produce T-shirts, and we're going to produce, 1 million, 2 million T-shirts. So they go, we'll take $1 of each. That's $1 million kickback. But when you say to them, we're going to produce 5,000 coins, they go, well, hang on a sec, we're only going to get $5,000 out of this. Don't worry about it, sort of thing.
The potential brand risk, or
So there is a degree of you've basically got to say to them, we'll sell our souls to you, produce as much as you want. And in the bullion kind of collector world, that doesn't kind of work because you've got to limit the numbers. You can't flood and drown the market, and it is no matter how much we think we punch above our weight. At the end of the day, the bullion industry, the collector industry, is not massive around the world. It's compared to cars and fishing and that sort of stuff. It's a much more niche-y type thing. So it's kind of I get why they do it, but from a consumer's perspective and even a retailer's perspective, there are days where I go, really?
Yeah.
Another one? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. And it's also probably the type of coin that when you are looking at something that is down that line of a niche within a niche, you're probably more likely to buy one or two of the Kiss coins. It's not necessarily forming part of the stack.
A rock and roll of them.
You're a genius, Ruben. You need a little applause button on your stream deck.
I honestly don't know how we didn't make that pun in the unboxing.
That's genius.
Sorry, carry on, Matt.
I forgot my point now. You've absolutely blown it out of the water.
You were talking about buying one or two.
Yeah, thank you. So, whereas you might be inclined to purchase a tube of kangaroos or get them in bulk to form a major part of your stack, you're probably right in these licensed coins, having that extra premium, being something that you might only get a couple of or form a gift, it might not form part of your full-on stack. So... Yeah, well, I'll be curious to see how it plays out and if they do continue, specifically Kiss, knowing how Gene Simmons likes to operate. Apparently, he wanted a royalty. He tried to take out the rights to the acronym OJ for orange juice. He wanted to get a kickback every time
somebody printed OJ.
Yeah,
OJ Simpson would be in trouble.
Yeah.
Gary Walker, Kiss coin, boring, no colour. The reason it's got no colour in Australia is because if they stick any colour on it, it incurs GST. So it no longer is a bullion coin. So
There's a question there from is it Scrumpy, and I wanted to hit this one because they were asking about it before on the they're asking about it before on the video released earlier today. They say, does the 3 months of free storage rule apply to unallocated?
No. And I should have made that. I kicked myself when I saw that question come up because I should have mentioned that in the video. No, unallocated has no ongoing expenses with it. The only time, like you pay for the spot price, obviously. I was going to say the only time you pay for it. You pay for the spot initial purchase price. There's no ongoing cost. When you sell back, either you convert it into physical and pay the premium at that point for it being a coin or a bar or whatever you choose. Or alternatively, if you sell it back to us for cash, then you lose a $30 per kilo or $1 per ounce with silver, $30 per ounce or $1 per gram for gold. So, yeah. Taking you way back, and it's way scrolled off my screen, so I apologise to whoever wrote it. Somebody asked the question about if they sell back Krugerrands, because Krugerrands incur GST in this country. If they sell back Krugerrands, do they get spot price for it or do they get spot less GST? No, you get what we call spot including GST. So if you're a private person selling a Krugerrand to us, you get spot price for it. You ignore the fact that it says GST on the bottom because you're not required to hand the GST back to the government. If, however, you're selling them to us as a business, so you're a jeweler, you're a refiner, you're another bullion company, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to have to declare that GST component on your tax return or on your BAS statement, and you're actually going to have to remit that to the government at that point. But no, as a private citizen, you get spot price for them.
There's also some questions being asked about some other products. Peter J says, any update on the release of the RAM Wildflowers of Australia 2023 1 ounce silver coin?
I've heard nothing.
That's gone awful quiet.
Yeah.
They really sort of came out strong with that and then tapered off very quickly.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has something to do with all of the kerfuffle going on with the new Effigy. That seems to be, that's the new Treasury line. It's, maybe they just held up. But yeah, I haven't heard anything at all about that. That was a nice series. Hopefully still is.
Yeah.
Good to see you in chat, Desi. Thank you very much for a very glowing Google review the other day. Much appreciated. Saw that one there. Thank you very much.
We've got, no, I don't think that's directed at us, but we do have Trump coins coming in again.
No,
future.
really?
We do. I believe the new ones.
Okay.
Which are something to do with... look, I can't remember.
Nah,
I've done a new design for
You've
it.
said it now. That's going to be the question recurring for streams
for the next 6
week
months.
after week.
This is how, this spins me out in this industry. And I know it does happen in other industries, but in bullion, I wouldn't have thought it had happened. They sold all the coins to the dealers, and then they said, right, there's enough demand for them. We're going to go away and produce them now. So it's like, hang on a sec. I've paid for these. They're overseas. And now you're going to produce them. So I actually don't know the timeline on them. I expected them to be well and truly in by now, but apparently they're still being manufactured. So, yeah, that one was a bit of a shock to the system.
That's fair enough. Michael says, why is there such few Diwali products? Last time many dealers had Diwali bullion. What's the go with it this year?
Yeah, the last couple of years, the refineries, since COVID is probably the line in the sand, they cut right back on the Diwali coins. So Perth Mint they're producing a Diwali medallion that's a 1 ounce silver with gold
Plating?
Plating. I wasn't trying to use the word gilding.
Oh, yeah.
Gilding is the word that Perth Mint use. And that actually looks quite nice. Pamp used to do a beautiful 10 gram or various size gold bars. They're not producing those at the moment. There's a real.
I've got the unboxing of the Perth ones over on the Little Coin Shop channel as well. I can put a link to that up as well if people are interested.
Work that link up. So, a lot of them have stopped producing their Diwali coins for some reason, and I can't tell you why they've stopped producing them, but they've just decided they're not going to anymore. So, it's very disappointing.
There's also a lot of talk about some of the Scottsdale products, and if we're going to be getting any, what's our next Scottsdale item coming through? Have we got anything lined up? Desi says about the Commander coins. And yeah, Plumet saying the Napoleon one looks great.
It does. I just saw it. Woo. Super.
Is it what I need to
That's
pull
all.
up,
That's
pull
all.
up on stream, do you reckon?
That's almost like a proof type finish. That's really cool. Do you want me to send it to you, Ruben?
That'd be great.
I actually don't. Kind of hit me on the spot here. I can't think of any Scottsdale that we've got coming in at the moment, but I might be wrong on that. Oh yeah. Oh, so these are Diwalis. Yeah. So we don't have the. I don't have the other camera set up.
I do not.
What are these ones, mate? Oh, these are the picks. Can I open them?
Or you could just show the plain box.
So this is the picks. They can't. Well, that's not a pick, obviously.
Yeah.
So this harks back to a previous conversation. Do you want to open that one?
Yeah,
mate?
go on.
While you're opening that, this is actually one of the local producers, and they've done an absolute bang up job on this one. So this is a. Oh, thanks, Rubes. This is a Diwali coin that's been produced here in Melbourne, and I think they've done a fantastic job on it. So. It's not, you can't expect to pay 1 ounce Perth Mid kangaroo price. It's certainly more than that because of all the production that's gone into it. But it's good to see one of the local producers actually taking it seriously and producing some good stuff for it. So
that's a cool. That's a wild image they've got there on the.
Yeah.
I don't know how well you can see that. I think
you can see that if it starts focusing properly.
If I stop shaking.
Dr. Bullion's getting a little out of hand there, mate. little keen on seeing the pick.
Is this the pick?
That's the pick.
Hey, hold on. Little cert. Limited edition of 250. This is not a pick. You're out of your mind.
That's not a pick.
It's the strangest looking pick I've ever seen.
This one's the pick. That's the coloured. Yeah, somebody was asking about a coloured coin. That's the coloured coin.
Dr. Bullion just wants them auctioned now.
Could you pass me the knife, mate?
Yep.
That's not a knife.
Yep, there you go. All right, where am I looking, Ruben? What's going on? Where am I?
Who
am I? I'm trying to show this coin.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
There you go. So yeah, we got a bit of colour on that one there.
So this is a limited edition of 250. So it's the same obverse as the one that you would have seen in the unboxing video, but the reverse design is the iconic KISS logo in colour at the bottom, and then in a frosted finish 3 more times above it. Ta-da!
Meanwhile, Michael has been making progress.
Yeah, so it's got the same box on the outside, or similar box. Comes in Z-tin.
Speaking of coin picks, bit of trivia. Which famous guitarist famously used a coin as a guitar pick? He's very well known. You know it, yeah.
I know it too. Who was it?
He's very incredibly famous guitarist. The chat, does anyone know? Yeah, straight onto it, Glenn.
Who was it?
Brian May.
Brian May from Queen.
Sorry, reading down. Yeah, I haven't heard that one for years. So this is a 9 gram 50th anniversary KISS guitar pick. It's 925 fine silver, so they're not pure. So that's to toughen it up so you can actually use it as a pick.
Yeah.
Limited edition of 500. And it looks, Rubes, do you want to do the honours, mate? It's actually a coin.
Has it got a face value?
Yeah, it actually has a legal tender.
Oi, that's cool.
There you go. Apparently, Billy Gibbons apparently played with a Mexican coin.
Oh, there you go. Who's Billy Gibbons?
ZZ.
Oi, what a goose. How embarrassing. Jeez,
Even I knew that one.
Wow. You know, the only member of the band without a beard? His surname was Beard.
Oh, really?
Yep.
There you go. That I didn't know.
How much does it weigh? Someone's asking.
10 grams.
10 grams? There you go.
And how many of those have they done? 500.
500.
Ah, very cool.
So there you go. They do exist.
Just when you thought KISS couldn't produce any more merchandise, they enter the bullion arena. And now the numismatic arena.
And what's our plan with them? Are we releasing them?
I
Are
have
they
no
going
plan.
Just for show for now?
Are they going through Little Coin Shop? Are they going through Bullion Now?
Look, if you... Oh, no, I can't say that.
Yeah, don't start saying stuff on live
I
television.
don't know. Ask me next week. No, next week. We've still got to talk about next week. Ask me the week after next. We'll see what we can do with it. I had an interesting... I'm changing topics now.
Yeah,
I had a really interesting conversation with Perth Mint yesterday. Do you know...
Probably not.
I have to be very careful about what I say here because I can actually drop my foot right in it.
That's so unlike you.
Yeah. No, this one I'll get seriously smacked for because Perth Mint said you can't say this online until X date.
It's a good starting point. Yeah.
Was this the one that you said you were going to ask about? Because I was hoping to bring that up. Yeah, that's an interesting discussion.
I can't go into that complete topic.
All right.
Because I got smacked for that as soon as I said, "Oh, that'll be great. We'll talk about." No, you won't. It's funny. They keep they start conversations now with you can't say this.
However,
we're only telling you. But they actually have the right to use the Queen's effigy until May next year.
Yeah.
So there will be a string of 2024 coins that will actually have the Queen's effigy on them.
I did not. I knew that they were able to do it. I didn't know that they were going to continue. So they're all. So, what I'm curious, and maybe we'll be tiptoeing like a bull through a china shop here, but with the Royal Australian Mint implementing the new Charles effigy in November, do we have any idea or indicative time frame from Perth as to when?
Yeah, somewhere between November and May.
All right, we've said enough.
And there may even be coins that are produced after May that have the Queen's effigy on them, so long as they have been officially released prior to May.
What a circus. It shouldn't be this complicated. It should be...
What do you think of Peter Gracemiguide's idea there? With the changes of head of state, wouldn't it make sense to just use the coat of arms until it gets sorted? Or is that going to throw up a whole different set of problems?
The problem with doing that, look, it's not a bad idea. It's actually quite a good idea. The problem with doing it is that you still have to go through all the motions of getting it approved. When they produced the commemorative effigy, they already had approval for that effigy. They just put a bit of type around the outside. So that was actually the easiest one to slide in there. It would have been going back to the start to actually get a coat of arms effigy. I don't suppose you call it an effigy actually, but a coat of arms design actually approved through the system. It was far easier to use what they already had.
Yeah, that makes sense. But no, it's kind of been one of those things that's felt very... I mean, obviously it's not something we've gone through before, but even the Kilo Cook releasing and still having the non-memorial obverse, even though it only came out not too long ago, but because when the Kookaburra originally came out, last year, her death had only just happened, and so they hadn't had time to swap it over, and so you're having a coin release only a couple of weeks ago that has the normal obverse. It's very all over the place.
Well, the next release is going to blow your socks off then.
It's going to have Georgia 6 or something.
So yeah, it's certainly been interesting to keep up with, and different countries trying different things, and we're kind of seeing the process at work for the first time, and I would suggest it's flopped a little bit, but
it just highlights the complication of the system.
Yeah, the idea that this has been sprung upon the nation without any warning whatsoever, I find that hard to get my head around. That it's been such a shock that Lizzie passed away.
Oh, you think they should have already had one in the chamber ready to go?
Yes, absolutely. Wouldn't that be the logical thing to do?
Well,
with all due respect,
it's
at
not
that
like
stage
they've
of the
dropped,
game.
some random guy off the street in, and suddenly he's king, and that's it. We've got to quickly, draw some effigies. You could have sat him down, or done some sketches.
I'm sure he did plenty of sitting.
Yeah,
and you could have just sketched something up and said, okay, this is a. you have a plan B. Isn't that sort of pretty, you know, a standard thing in life? You don't just rely on one thing at all times.
Look, I got to say, I actually agree. I mean, you know, again, no offense to anyone, but when you're dealing with someone who's, you know, getting towards being a centenarian or whatever pronounce it, 100 years old, you kind of got to start saying, well, you know, maybe she may not make it through the next year or so. Maybe we should think about what's going to happen afterwards. And actually start, you know, it's fairly obvious when she when she passed away that we were going to have to change the effigies on currencies all around the world. So it would have been, you would have thought it would have been part of their planning process, but obviously it wasn't.
Yep. So again, and I would not be astounded either if when the time comes for Charles, the transition, that there will be a similarly,
convoluted.
Exactly. It'll be, oh wow, we've only done this once before in recent history, and it'll be another 18-month transition period. They'll say, oh, it's just, geez, you wouldn't read about it. There's so much involved.
It wouldn't be funny. I'm not suggesting it would be funny. Maybe ironic, if just after they get these all approved, they had to change effigies again.
It would not be great. It would be absolutely horrendous.
I actually know of a few people that are banking on certain series because they believe, even just, let's take a look at Luna, for example. The Luna series this time, as opposed to Series 1 and 2, Series 3 could theoretically contain, 3 different effigies, across the entire thing. Or if we see...
Effigy.
Yeah, or if we see, that's it, the entire thing. Or if we see the Memorial obverse come out, then that's, another type again. There could be all sorts of different things. And it's going to be the first time it's happened in, again, using the Luna as an example. First time it would have happened in the Luna. So, what does that mean for the collectability of, those years and years down the track? Who knows?
Yeah. Somebody asked a question earlier about when can you start playing. When can you start pre-ordering?
I've been getting asked that a lot. If you could put some official word to that,
so
that'd be
the official
fantastic.
answer is we cannot take pre-orders, and Perth Mint is not even vaguely amused by the fact that if we get caught taking pre-orders, they will take us out the back of the woodshed and have a serious conversation with us, because they really don't like pre-orders on the Luna. There is a reason behind it. I'm going back years, but probably 8, 10, might even be 12 years ago. There was a massive fiasco because a couple of major dealers actually took a whole stack of pre-orders and then didn't get the allocation. So, all hell broke loose, and my show and tell's being removed. You need to show and tell, do you, mate? Okay. Well, there goes our show and tell that I was going to do for
he'll be
the
back.
live stream.
He might be back.
So, we will announce if we can take pre-orders. If we can take pre-orders, it will be very close to the release date. I'll actually be pretty surprised if they approve us to take pre-orders, but certainly not before we get an allocation on all of the 3 types of 1 ounces in there. Does that answer the question, or did I get distracted halfway?
No, I think
that was it.
I think so. A lot of it comes down to, Perth letting us know when we, what stock we're going to have, things like that, and then we can make the decision from there.
Yeah. No, Scrumpy. They will not have Charles perched on a bird bath.
We don't know for certain. Although, have we? The images are still under embargo, right?
Yes,
they are.
Okay.
Which is why I can't announce all the hot goss on it yet.
Well, it's and this isn't speaking out of turn, because images have been doing the rounds on social media. So,
which did not come from us, Perth Mint, if you're watching
well, obviously not. But
and they're not confirmed to be the actual coin.
Yeah, so we're not... Yeah, let's just leave it at that. I think, again, it's a hard one to tiptoe through. Anyway, what else has been happening?
Glenn...
Very subtle change there, mate. No one will have noticed.
How about this weather?
Glenn wanted to know, they've said Michael, but I'll open up to both of you. The 2024 Dragon design, how would you compare it to the rectangular design of this year? Do you prefer the lunar design or the rectangular dragon design?
I love the rectangular dragon design.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Such a good use of the background as well. I think that's the first time they've really capitalized on what is otherwise just sort of negative space.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a bit of a hoard of treasure there, and
Yeah.
it felt like a bit of a story almost going on in the
No,
background.
I absolutely think they nailed it with the dragon,
Mm.
the rectangular dragon.
Yeah.
I think it was spot on. There's been a couple of issues since then where I've gone, really? I think you missed the mark on that one.
Mm.
What are you referring to? What do you mean?
You're going to throw him under the bus like
Yeah,
that?
go for it. Well, you've said it.
Well, I can't say it, but the one that starts with S and ends in Upapit, I was a little disappointed with. The
Oh
design.
no! See, I changed my tune on that. I was on the same wavelength until I saw it in person, particularly and specifically the 5 ounce gold. Have you had a good look
Yeah,
at that 5
the
ounce
5
gold?
ounce
When you
gold,
catch that in the
actually-
right light, they should do.
It looks like a high relief.
They owe it
Yeah.
to the design to do a 10 ounce at the minimum, or at maximum a kilo. No, at maximum a 10 kilo in silver of that super pit design.
In
Because
gold.
no, in silver. Because the silver, the 1 ounce, it truly is not enough. Like the
Yeah, the
design
plates
is
are not big
it's
enough.
too busy. So yeah,
Yeah.
when I saw that 5 ounce gold, and I think it was last week on stream that I'd first had a good look at it. You really do start to appreciate the amount of detail that actually creates the depth. Because you're right, when you look at it at first glance, it's just a bit of a mess.
Bit of a muddle of lines.
Exactly.
and-
On a larger planchet, though, you start to see, okay, there's actually a bit of a function to all these lines, and you get a little bit of depth to it. So on a larger silver planchet, that could go off.
Yeah. No, look, I actually agree. The problem is the design has to translate onto a 1 ounce planchet. And I don't think it did that well. And I would have liked to have seen them continue down. Like the 2021 had the pit on it.
Yeah.
The 2022 they went different and they used the Komatsu tractor on there.
Yeah.
And then they've gone back to almost the super. Well, not almost. They've gone back to the super pit again. I would have
Well, it
liked
is
to
the
have seen them.
namesake of the coin.
Yeah, but there's so much else to it. What are we going to do? Spend the next 10 years having different photos of a hole in the ground with lines around it?
Well, I
I mean,
would
they've
have
got to jazz it up somehow.
Yeah.
I would have said that they'd retire it at some stage and gone, all right, the super bit's done. Let's create a new series and do
I
something
hope
else.
they don't,
There
because
could
there
be
is
more,
so
yeah.
much more they could do with it. I mean, the super pit is absolutely it's a hole in the ground, but it's not just a hole in the ground. You've got the machinery there, you've got the people there, you've got the scenery around it, you've got Kalgoorlie, the town, right next to it. You've got all these other things that you could actually throw into the design to highlight the super pit and the area that it's in and the life of it. Why just focus on a hole in the ground with some lines around it?
Yeah. And now that you mention it, some of the explosives that they use
I
with
was
the
thinking
Yeah.
that.
imagine that.
I was thinking that. I was wondering if they'd get pushback from the destruction of the natural environment. But I
But
suppose
that's how
the coin.
you get a super pit.
Well, I was
You-
going to say
you blow a hole.
It's a giant hole in the ground already.
Yeah.
So
That would be. I actually think you're right. There's a heap of opportunity to get a little more creative with the design and what goes on there.
Well,
yeah.
I've got the utmost respect for the designers over at Perth.
Mm.
I know I'm having a go at them, but this is just. Not that I'm artistic in any shape, way, or form. I have not an artistic bone in my body, but I kind of feel like it was almost lazy to do that design. It was, almost the 10 to 5 design on a Friday afternoon.
Oh,
We were
geez.
talking about before, like, crap, we've got to get that one out.
That is a scathing review.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like being a food critic, though. I'm not a chef, but I'm pretty critical of food. I think that is the unfortunate reality of being a coin designer, is that your designs are subject to
ridicule and praise.
uneducated swines giving their opinions on it.
Yeah.
What about
Look,
Shuey's comment there about that it being about the origin of the gold being from there as well?
I
as like
love that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
and I think they need to make more of that. That's just a one-line mention in the release. They should really do, this is gold from the super pit. This is a celebration of the super pit. The marketing behind that, the PR behind that, the thought behind that is genius. It's the design is letting them down. They need to really play this out because, environmentalist or not, this is gold is a foundation of this country. It's still one of our major exports. It's like it or hate it, it's still important to the Australian story.
Yeah.
So I think seriously we should make more of it as artistes, and I think they've got a duty to do that. So yeah, look, the super pit was disappointing for me, but probably the one saving grace is the 5 ounce gold. So Yeah, if you're going to get it in the 5 ounce gold. Just drop a cool 15
Budget
grand.
permitting.
That's right.
Surprise! The bullion dealer says buy the most expensive one.
Yeah, funny
It's
that.
just in.
The one
It's the most expensive one's actually the best, guys.
the one I really liked and was actually quite shocked at the comments online was the Quokka. I actually thought they did not a bad design with the Quokka.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It wasn't the first is
The
my
first is the
favorite
best. You
by
can't-
far.
Yeah.
Particularly because when I went to Rottnest Island, I had an absolute I had a horrendous time trying to get a Quokka to pose for a photo. I would go up, I'd crouch down, and they'd just scoot off. It wasn't until someone pointed out that you need to pull a leaf off the tree and hand it to them that they'll actually stop and smile for a photo. So the fact that that was represented on the coin, I thought was genius because
That's the real life experience.
I'm certain there's people that have gone all the way there and not been able to get a selfie with a Quokka because they didn't know. You need to hand them a little leaf to distract them. So I thought that was genius design that showed a bit of knowledge specifically relating to the animal as well. But you're right. I didn't mind this design either. I didn't think it was. It wasn't, in my opinion, as bad as the platinum koala.
You didn't like that one?
That was wild. I was rattled by that. It sounds pretty. Again, this is just one guy's opinion. I thought it was a wind up when I first saw it. I thought, because we'd had that conversation a few weeks prior of the 1995 design and how fascinating that was. I thought that was a sort of a recreation of that, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah, it was certainly an odd one. Question from Vern. Any chance they continue the Triangle Coin Shipwreck series?
Oh, that was
that's
cool.
finished.
Yeah, that's done. That was a 4-coin series, unfortunately.
That was a very, very cool one. I kind of want to know your thoughts, Michael. We covered this a little bit last week, but obviously you weren't here, so I kind of want to know your take, and that is between the effigies featured on the English coins versus what was announced for our circulating currency on the right there. Do you have a preference between the UK or Australia on that one, or thoughts on either?
No, I think they both suck.
Wait, jeez, tell
There
us
you
what you
go.
really
All
think.
right.
I'm not a fan of the effigy. It'll grow on me over time. I just don't like change.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it from a design perspective.
No, not from a design perspective. I mean, there's only you got to look at the material they've got to work with. You know,
Well,
it's not
the
Claudia
Australian
Schiffer
design
with
is
Waddling
lazy. I don't see enough difference between the two of them because people are very strongly opinionated on
here.
it.
Bring them up again, mate.
I don't see sufficient difference for one to be
Are they
miles ahead. The one on the left is the UK one. Well,
both? Yeah, but that's not circulating currency. The
No,
one.
that's 100.
Whereas the one on
that's
the
a
right is
1 ounce per
circulating
tank.
yeah, that's the
currency.
$1.
So
yeah.
you can't put the detail in circulating currency because it'll wear so quickly.
Yeah, that's true. But even so, just to look at the designs, there's a little, obviously, quite a bit more detail, or what's the word? The relief is going to be different because I think the one on the left, that's closer to what you would expect the end product to look like, whereas on the right, that's purely the digital, mock-up of what you would expect to see. But I don't think they're wild. I wouldn't say they're worlds apart. If you put them side by side, I wouldn't say, whoa, who's the guy on the right? I recognize the left, but geez.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either. But it's, I mean, you've also got you're looking at a bullion design compared to a circulating coin design.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of limitations, not the least being the fact that it's got to be cheap to produce.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't have you can spend a lot more producing an effigy on a $3,000 coin than you can on a $1 coin.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of commercial considerations got to be taken into account there as well.
We had an email in from someone showing something they picked up for their stack. They found them at a garage sale not too long ago. We throw those up there.
Oh, I haven't seen one of these for a while.
Yeah.
I have not seen them at all. Do you?
Oh, seriously?
No. So looking at it, it looks like a pure 100-gram kangaroo. Yeah, do you know anything about them, or
Oh,
when was
not
the
a
last
great
time?
deal.
When was the last time you saw
Ensmec
them?
is an old manufacturer.
Yep.
So it's it'd be 70s, possibly 80s. It was produced.
Yep.
Yeah, great little round. I was going to call it a coin. It's not a coin. It's a round. Yeah, a good part of the Australian history.
Yeah.
Silver history there.
Yep. They also provided their thoughts on the super pit. They said the 10-ounce kookaburra were preferred to the kilo, in their opinion.
The 10 ounce is actually my favourite size.
And also wanted a thank you for. They bought some of the half-ounce XAGs and we put them in capsules. So that made it easier to store them.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very, very good. What do you know about Bitcoin, Matt?
Where to begin? It's quite a
Isn't that magical internet money?
quite a fascinating subject. Why do you ask, Michael?
Well, there's an article, and I haven't finished the article. I was trying to get time to finish it before we came online.
Yeah.
There's an article in the Fin Review today about the comparison that's made that between Bitcoin and gold, and the fact that Bitcoin is the new digital gold,
Yeah.
and it'll take over from there. And I was just wondering if you agreed with that statement. Can you buy Bitcoin instead of gold for the same result?
No, I think it's in my mind. I would put it in the same category as when you ask me about my stack and my coin collection. It's two different hemispheres. Sorry, Ruben, I'm moving around, getting out of focus again. But I think they're two totally different things in my mind, and would serve different functions. I just don't think that they're
So you wouldn't buy
that close together.
Yeah, because I haven't heard it recently, I've got to say, as much. But I know 2 years ago, it was all the I'm going to sell gold and just replace it with Bitcoin.
We saw that. There was a lot of people, even if it wasn't because they thought they were the same, it was just hey, I need some capital behind this, a bit of a bankroll. So, I'm going to sell back my stack.
So that I've got less issue with. It's more the I'm
not saying
actually hoping you were going to take the other side of this, but you didn't.
I can try.
But there was a lot of this. Gold's going to go away because Bitcoin, because of its limited production and all this type of stuff, that it was going to be the new inflation hedge. And this was an interesting article because they've actually now started going back looking at Bitcoin and gold and doing a comparison. And so they've actually got some hard numbers about it. But right back then, and there was a few of us used to argue about it, where I felt very strongly that I think people were making a mistake at that point, and I still believe they are, saying that Bitcoin and gold could, fill each other's shoes, sort of thing.
Yeah.
As a hedge against inflation. And look, it may do in the future, but at this stage, I would argue it certainly doesn't. And
did you want that chart of because there's the digital versus real gold chart that they had up there, and it shows
can throw it up, but I haven't finished this article, so I might be.
It shows quite dramatic movements in the Bitcoin space, but it actually, if you keep reading the article, it actually kind of goes through that. Yeah, very much what you're saying of they're different things. And it kind of, to me at least, it reaches that conclusion. That even though obviously looking at a graph like that, you go, well, hey, I want the one that's doing those big movements.
But you don't.
But
so this
exactly.
is the whole argument with this, because
if anyone wanted that as well, I can just put the link there. I think you will need a login or a subscription for it, but if anyone was chasing it,
the thing is, what people aren't understanding to a degree is that you don't. The reason you buy gold is because you want that bottom red line. You don't want it bouncing around like a yo-yo. You don't want, you don't want it to triple in price one day and then, come down 90% the next. You buy gold because it's super safe, it's super stable, and it just trickles along, going very slowly, upwards towards the right-hand side of the graph. And it has done for the last 5,000 years. Because while you're right, with Ruben saying, you want that blue one on the chart, the problem is you're saying, well, I'd buy it on the bottom left-hand corner and I'd sell it, as it went high. The problem is What happens if you don't do that? Because
Correct.
we're looking backwards. You're investing forwards. What happens if you buy near the top? All of a sudden you've had something that's come down, 50, 75%, even 90% over a very short period of time. What are the chances of gold going, dropping 90% over the next 3 months? It's, while statistically possible, it's so unlikely. It's, right out there.
Yeah.
Whereas any of the cryptocurrencies, the instability in them, every single crypto investor that I've ever talked to has always come back and said, "Oh yeah, it could drop 90% tomorrow." That's not why you buy gold. So they are at this stage in their life cycle. Gold and Bitcoin are completely different things, bought for completely different reasons. And look, that doesn't mean necessarily one is better than the other in all situations, but in some situations, one is preferable over the other. And if you're looking for some, stable type of insurance policy to protect your purchasing power over the longer term, then you're looking at gold, not some form of cryptocurrency, even Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I would suggest that, and this is purely my view based on my experience, I have viewed crypto investing as, I would liken it to roulette at the casino, given, like you suggested, the extremely volatile nature of it. And when I did have, and it's funny because having had arguably a very positive experience in the world of crypto and having made a lot of money off a small investment, my instinct once those gains were realized was, okay, so I need to get this somehow now into, well, first off, I decided I want to buy a house. I want to buy the family home, and then with whatever's left, I want to put it into gold and silver to secure what had been achieved, because achieved is a loose term to use, but it was a case of exactly, yeah, the winnings, because, and like I'd said to you when I came into work that morning and said, this thing's gone through the roof. It was the very next day that it had gone down by about $20,000, and I thought, yeah, this probably isn't where I want to leave this long term. Like it's been a great experience. I've had a hoot. It's a lot of fun, but geez, I think I told you as well. An acquaintance of mine, I caught up with him and I hadn't seen him in a few years. And this is just an anecdotal story. And I hadn't seen this guy in a couple of years, and I knew that he was heavily involved in cryptos. And I saw him and he was not in a good shape, physical health wise. And I asked him what was going on. And he said, I pretty much can't sleep anymore because I've got all of these trades happening and the market is so volatile that, in the middle of the workday, I just leave work because I have mental sort of snaps and can't take the stress because I get so close to losing everything, but then it can double and it's all good. And that's, when we talk about the sleep at night factor, this gentleman was a complete opposite of what I've suggested.
The never sleep at night.
Exactly.
factor.
Yeah. Like I said, sure you can have those big wins, but the losses can be just brutal. And the reason I think now that being a father, I have a very different view of what represents stability and what I want for the future of not only myself, but now when you start to consider children and future generations, I don't want to leave behind a portfolio that could, drop 90% in a day. And they say, oh, well, thanks, Dad. You set me up with a hand grenade with the pin removed.
That's right. Simon the Great's got the comment there. What are the chances of gold going up 30,000% in the next 10 years? I would say 0. But that's not what you're buying gold for. You're protecting your wealth with gold. You're not looking for those explosive growths. That's what you use investments in other things for. What you're putting into gold is what you're trying to protect. And so that's why it's the stable insurance policy. So if your intent is to protect your wealth, you don't put it into Bitcoin or any of the cryptos for that matter. If your intent is to try and get 30,000% in the next 10 years, and well, if it doesn't do that, it goes broke in the next 18 months, Well, grab yourself a Bitcoin or one of the other, flea bag coins that are out there. Because they could do that. They could go through 30,000%, or they could go to zero instantaneously. So the intent, the discussion is not a criticism of Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrencies. It's more a discussion of understand what you're buying, understand the risk factor that you're buying, and understand what your intent is when you're making a purchase. If your intent is to protect your capital, then buy gold. This is not financial advice.
Yeah.
If your intent is to gamble or to try and, get some explosive growth, then don't buy gold.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing is viewing it as a different kind of item. Wealth preservation versus that bit of a risk or a gamble. What are your thoughts about GR's idea there? Get a pro on to plead their case for Bitcoin. Would that be interesting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there'd be some interesting discussions there. Even if commonality couldn't necessarily be reached on every topic, I think there'd still be some.
I'm not against Bitcoin. Don't take away from this conversation that I think Bitcoin sucks. Because it has its place. Its place is just not as a replacement for gold. At this stage in its cycle, eventually it may get there, but at this stage in its life cycle, it is very much a volatile instrument.
Yeah.
Well, so it also doesn't have 5,000 years of history behind it. This is, we're talking less than 20 years of history.
I think it's
Bitcoin.
only 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, and I think another component that needs to be that we need to be mindful of in the conversation is it's also quite literally a man-made product. It's a digital product which has been created by an anonymous person or persons, and
I think the argument is we're moving into that digital age where it's needed. And again, I'm not necessarily advocating for it here. I'm taking the other side and kind of, this is the arguments that I get seen bandied about is, cool, gold's had its time, but we're moving into a digital age, so we need something digital. That's the argument that gets thrown around.
Yeah, but it wasn't designed. Even its original design was not for storage of wealth.
No,
it was for transfer of wealth.
Yeah, which it does very well in comparison to physical.
It does very poorly in terms of transacting with. It's terrible. Vitalik, the gentleman that created Ethereum, said he thought it was a complete joke. There's an interview, and he says, "I think it's absolutely unfathomable that it costs 5 cents to make a transfer with Bitcoin, which is why he created Ethereum." Years have gone by, and there was a period of time, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, it was costing me $70 Australian to do an Ethereum transfer.
Yeah.
But
because that was still on proof of works instead of
proof of stake.
Proof of stake, yeah.
So as it's effectively, Bitcoin is terrible to use for transacting, to send and receive, and it's very slow. It's very expensive. The idea of it is for what a lot of people perceive to be, this is new internet money. It'll be really easy to transact with. You're better off, dare I say, just using your bank account to transfer money around.
Well, it's not, because it's instantaneous. You and I can do a transfer instantaneously between the two of us. Bank transfers aren't always instantaneous. They're getting better.
Bitcoin isn't instantaneous, though.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It takes a bit of time. I think you'll find.
Which coin.
What, like Bitcoin specifically?
Look out, ladies and gentlemen, they're disagreeing.
Yeah, well, when the network gets clogged up, because the whole, you need to mine the...
I've never seen a Bitcoin transaction take overnight.
Yeah, half a day would be my slowest.
Yeah.
And that's when the network gets busy.
Whereas I've had bank transfers take 2 days.
Yeah, but once you've transferred to that account before and it's gone through, from then on it's pretty...
You throw a weekend or a public holiday, like some of them are moving away from that now, but
it doesn't even have to be that. If we transfer from, if we have customers transfer from ING to us, or Macquarie, I think is the other one, even if they've transferred to us before, it takes at least overnight, but quite often it takes 48 hours, which is one of the reasons why we have that 48-hour thing on our payment system on our website, is purely to take into account the ING, Macquarie, those types of banks' delayed transfers.
Even their Osco systems can be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, then you need to look at fees, right? Jeez, it can get expensive.
Yeah, well,
transacting large sums, wowee.
Yeah.
It gets eaten up pretty quick in the crypto world.
Want to go back to a little. We can come back to this. I want to, before I forget, a little shout out to McDuncan Presents. G'day, Michael, Matt, and Ruben. Greetings from Tennessee.
Yeah, I was just when I
Wait,
read that
from
I
Tennessee, eh?
Yeah.
What's going on? You traveling?
thought, yeah,
Nice one.
must be on Ollie Day. Must be good for some, eh?
Yeah.
We need to talk about next week.
Yeah. What's the go? What a setup. What a stitch up, in
Yeah,
fact.
what a stitch up. We're going to do a poll. So let me give you some background to next week. Next week, everyone's abandoning me.
Yeah, that's rough.
All
That
by
is
himself.
unthinkable. Imagine just, not being here. Can you imagine that, Michael?
Yeah,
You cast your mind back to last week.
I didn't let... You didn't stay here by yourself.
And
I would have.
I can throw up where he was.
Hi, everyone.
There he
So
is.
next week, both Matt and Ruben, for various reasons, can't be here. So you're going to have a couple of options. We're going to run a poll on it. Ruben and I were talking about this before the stream. So we want to know, would you rather have the week off and we don't do absolutely anything? So it's just a quiet Friday, no live stream. Or we could do a pre-recorded mailbox type thing that I do sometimes where I go through comments that have been made on YouTube and I discuss them. But it's very much, I mean, they're your questions, but it's very much me talking at you. There's no real interaction there because it's pre-recorded. Or the other one is, and we'll see how well this works out because, being such a technophobe, Ruben's going to set up all the equipment before he leaves. And so
What could go wrong?
yeah. So all I have to do is push a button and then we can run live and we'll treat it as a Michael's mailbox, a live Michael's mailbox where everyone jumps in and you just keep firing questions at me and I'll just keep just answering them as quickly as I practically can. So it means that you get to spend time with a bullion dealer asking all those questions that you've always kind of wanted to know the answer to.
Looks like you're going live,
The
Michael.
poll's going ballistic.
Oh, yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that?
Just
eh?
don't touch anything. Don't click anything. Don't unplug anything. You'll be fine. It'll be great.
It's only a 50-50 thing though, mate.
Yeah, but you say 50-50, but
Yeah, the other 50's
50's
pretty
is
well
like
split.
between other options.
Yeah, but if you add the other options
That's
together...
not how that works. That's not how that works.
That's how our election system works.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Look, I'm happy to do any or all of the above.
Greg suggests... Oh, I didn't think about that. A different day live stream. I think that'd throw into far more chaos and everyone would get confused, I think, including us.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. It'd be just the three of us on the live stream.
Yeah.
Because everyone else would be going, what? Yeah, so look, I'm happy to do that. And it looks like that's kind of the favoured option there.
Maybe we record a mailbox and have it for if anything, like what as a
The
backup.
wheels fall off.
If the wheels fall off, it's like, oh, well, that didn't
Yep,
work.
That's
Let's,
your panic button.
Yeah. just
See how much faith they have in me.
well, we'll see how it goes. What could go wrong? Yep, Nat, looks like you're doing a live stream next week.
Perfect.
Alrighty, so there will be a live stream next week, but it will just be all of us and me.
Perfect.
These two characters can't be bothered making an appearance. Get a special guest. I did think about that, Ozdude, but the problem with that is it's very hard to manage by yourself if the wheels fall off.
If they get rowdy and out of control, what's he going to do?
Yeah, well, you just, you never quite know how people are going to react under camera. So, you kind of... I'd like the backup, just in
Yeah,
case
it's a fair
something
shame.
goes rogue. And it doesn't have to be the guest. It could be the equipment or anything. So, yeah, one of those things. So we will do... Yeah, Dan Andrews is free. Yeah. No. So, yeah, we will have a live stream next Friday, but it will just be me and not these two.
This is going back, I think last week or maybe even the week before, but there was a lot of talk about it. And to be honest, I didn't keep up with it too much. So I'm going to mention it to you and see if it's something you've looked in at all or if this is something we just need to not talk about. But there was a lot of talk about the Shanghai Gold Exchange and their pricing of gold, and in comparison to the COMEX and things like that. And people were saying, well, hey, look, this is pointing towards gold being worth a lot more, and things like that. Have you seen any of the reports on that? Do you lend any credence to it? You know, what's the go there?
Are you asking me or Michael? Because I thought you were asking Michael.
I'm pitching it. I'm pitching it to Michael.
Are you trying to palm this off? Because I wasn't really listening.
Look, I don't really have much of a comment on it, I suppose, at the end of the day. It is what it is.
Yeah, so...
Does a bullion dealer think that gold should be worth more?
I was
That's
looking...
the headline.
Yeah. I've just pulled one up here. I'm not sure if this is the same numbers we were going, but it looks like at least one of these times here, $112 an ounce higher than London prices. You know.
It's a free market.
Mm.
You know, it's demand on the day. You look at the oil prices. You know, the Brent crude price is different to the West Texas crude price, all those types of things. And I know with oil, it goes to quality as well, but, you know, it goes on demand in that area at that time. So there's... I know I'm kind of trying to dodge this one, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, it's just that's the way it goes.
It is what it is.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what else to add to that.
No, that's fair enough. Another question that sadly I don't think we have good news on, but a lot of people have been asking is about the Brumbies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting asked about that today. What's the go?
Yeah, Brumbies come out in the next week or two. I don't know exactly when. We don't get access to that release. It's one of the ones that's one of the exclusives. They hold off, which is disappointing for us. But again, it is what it is. I can't convince Perkin to give us everything as hard as I do try to do that.
Jeez, that's a bit rough.
Apparently they seem to think that they have other customers.
Not like this, though. Not like us. Where are their live streams?
Yeah, that's the one. Unbelievable. I think we probably need to start putting a pin in this one. What do we reckon?
Yeah, you can start winding it up. Although we did start late, so I don't know how that equates.
Let me hit you with a crazy theory, since we're just sort of in the freestyle part of the stream. Imagine this, right?
This is the freestyle part. I love it.
Sort of like the free play part of the stream.
As opposed to the previous hour and a half.
Which was all well and truly scripted and prepared for.
All choreographed down to the second.
When I'm laying in bed at night at like 3 a.m, just staring at the roof with my own thoughts, how's it... Because no one knows, right? As in, we don't know who... We're on Bitcoin as well, just to set the scene. We're talking about Bitcoin earlier. Given that it's man-made, imagine... This is just purely hypothetical. Imagine if the person that created Bitcoin designed it so once the 22 millionth Bitcoin was mined, the whole thing just shut down, disappeared. And it was just purely an... what's the word?
Like a social experiment.
So
yeah,
that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, it was an experiment. It was just purely a social experiment, because obviously when it started, you could not fathom how big of a deal it would have become. You know, it was
never designed for what it currently is.
Exactly. There was a point where early on there was captures set up. Those things where the text is all blurred and you type it in. You type that in, you get 5 Bitcoin deposited into your account because it was worth a few cents. So imagine that if it was set up to have an end date when it all just... That's my tinfoil hat theory for the day.
You've just upset everyone that has Bitcoin on this channel.
Well, I don't mean to upset you, but I think... But see, the fact that could even be a theory, and this is just one guy's wild theory, you can't... you'd be hard-pressed to theorize that about gold, right? In the same sense as, what if you woke up one day and gold was worthless, no one wanted it anymore? It's very hard to get your head around that. Whereas with Bitcoin, I wouldn't be, it'd be chaotic. But if that news came out, or that the final Bitcoin's been mined and the whole thing just is now, it's gone, and it just says that, everyone got a message to their wallet that said, thanks for playing.
Yeah, thanks for participating in your social experiment.
Exactly, yeah. I would say, huh. Isn't that interesting?
It sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
It does, but I would be so bold as to say stranger things have happened.
It looks like you're tapping into an existing theory there. A few people saying
Oh,
CIA created, government agency created as opposed to, social experiment.
Like the
but-
Banksy picture that self-shredded.
Yes.
That
was a
there you
classic
go.
example.
Yeah. And, this was the plan all along, Maybe Banksy is Satoshi.
I love MP's one there. All Bitcoin owners will now have sleepless nights. Well done, Matt.
Oh, well, I'm tipping if you've got a heavy position, you're probably not sleeping super well anyway.
Yeah, look, but I mean, it could happen. I was going to say it could happen with gold, but I can't. The only example I can give you with gold is if suddenly they found it, holding gold caused cancer or something like that. All of a sudden it was worth nothing. But even then, it just means you'd probably store it with someone else.
Put it in a better capsule, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can't think of a way.
Maybe if there's a truckload of it on the moon or on Mars. Maybe that's why Elon's going there.
People panic about that sort of stuff. Like, we're going to mine asteroids.
I've
all
heard
this
that a
sort of
lot,
stuff.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, if anything, that's going to increase the price of gold because the cost of mining an asteroid or bringing the truckload back from the moon would be horrendous.
Wouldn't be a truck, it'd be a shipload.
Yeah. But it's just like, I mean, I've operated in aircraft all my life. So I can tell you that shipping things via air or, in this example, via space, horrendously expensive. Like, the only thing that's going to do is make people go, well, obviously it's going to cost me that much to source it from outer space. So the local stuff must be worth, almost as much as that. So if anything, if we start, mining meteors and that sort of stuff, it'll only drive the price up.
See, maybe it's because of the industry that we're involved in. But see, the more we talk about things like that, the more excited I get about bullion. The more I talk about cryptos, the more concerned, the more concerned and confused I get. So I don't want anyone to misinterpret my theory as backed with research and knowledge. I'm certainly, I'm an
Just
absolute
theorizing,
chump when it comes to crypto. But I had a lot of fun playing with it when I did.
Yeah. Metal Inquisitor's been saying that their go-to is Lego Star Wars. Apparently, that's been quite profitable for them.
Yeah, look, you're hitting two of my other weaknesses, and that's Lego and Star Wars. And I can tell you, I wouldn't compare it to gold because there is no stability in it. But that's not to say that it'll go down because I don't think I've ever seen any of the Star Wars sets go down in value.
The problem with them is I think you've got to leave them in the box for them to still.
No, you
No,
don't.
okay.
In fact, I haven't done it recently, but with the kids, we did a social experiment.
Yeah.
We compared, and we actually, I don't think we ever sold any, but we actually compared sets where people had actually kept them in pristine condition and then other people that had just basically thrown them on a blanket and said, there's no box, no instructions, but here's the Lego. And the ones that were out of their box were actually fetching far more than those that were in the
Really?
pristine sets. So, which always used to amaze me. But Lego, particularly the themes like Star Wars, incredible. This is not financial advice, and it's not Lego advice, but incredibly good investments from what I've seen and experienced.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing actually.
I want to go back to a question from a while ago.
I was trying to wind this up.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, we've also got what's going? Is this too late? What is this?
Is that what's left of my show and tell?
Oh,
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's left of it? It seems to be a bit. Check it out.
Yeah, we should do it. Okay, keep going, Rubes. I'll go through this in a little while.
Question from Mr. Variable. I recently came across something called the Free Silver Movement in the late 1800s. Do any of you know anything about it? Very interesting read.
Yeah, and I know very little about it.
Yeah. No, I can't say I do either. That was more of just a pitch to you based on that question from earlier. But it sounds like I've got some digging to do on some US history on coinage.
Number one asks, is there any... this is really going down the rabbit hole, and I'm probably only covering this because it's so late in the stream and I know I can just pull the plug at any point. But is there any risk for confiscation with gold? Look, this one is so far out there, it's not funny, and I can argue it both ways. I'm not fearful of a gold confiscation, and I know I've just upset probably 30% of listeners here, but they've certainly attempted confiscation in the States. They passed the law; it was illegal to hold gold in some forms. They never actually. That's not true. They did attempt to actually confiscate it from people physically, but the farmers in the US which are far more well armed than the farmers in Australia,
Yeah.
said, sure, come and have a go. And so the government backed off at that point. If you went back 3 years ago, I would have laughed hysterically at you if you'd said to me, the government will lock you in your houses and stop you from moving around. Obviously, this is being shot from Melbourne. So governments have proven over the last 3 years or so that they can do absolutely anything that they want. I still don't believe, even in the shadow of that, I still don't believe that confiscation of gold is a risk in modern society, because picture yourself as the leader of, in this example, as the leader of Australia. So you need to generate, you want to you get your sticky fingers on a whole stack of money. You have two options here. You can either go around, get every bullion dealer's records, go through them all and send the military, the paramilitary, whichever you want to look at it, around to everyone's door, knock on the door and say, we believe that, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you purchased X amount of gold and we are here to confiscate it. It would cause such social unrest. It would cause such chaos. It's so impractical, when the alternative to it is you could say, right, we have all these superannuation accounts. We know the balances in them. We know the access to them. We're going to flick a switch and we're going to take everything in those superannuation accounts, and we are now, because you can't be trusted with it, we are now going to pay you a pension for the rest of your life out of those funds, and we're going to take the balances out of it and we're going to use it for nation building projects. I would argue that is far more likely to happen than any confiscation of gold.
Yeah, fair shake.
I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. I don't think. I think it's theoretically possible. I don't think the practical outworkings hold up.
Mr. Variable said there, it did happen here in Australia, but it was a case of people could not hold more than 5 ounces of gold. I don't remember hearing anything about that.
I've actually searched for this a number of times because people keep telling me it happened here in the 30s. I still cannot find any actual record of it. There's rumours of it here and there, but if someone can point me to a government document that actually sets out the gold confiscation, I would be fascinated, because I can't find it.
Well, I mean, it's certainly within recent enough history that, that's it. Talking to a grandparent or something like that, there might be talks of, oh, yes, I remember it, this happening, or, it being on the news or this or that. But
yeah, I don't remember. I don't know anyone that's actually said, I remember this happening. I don't remember. I haven't found anyone that says this is the documentation to show that it occurred. So I can't find it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that I can't find it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Number one's follow up there is, could the government make it illegal to trade gold then? Look, as I said, at the end of the day, the government could do whatever they wanted.
They've proven that.
But why would they? What's the purpose of it? To stop you trading in gold? I don't understand why they would.
Do you want to move to your show and tell then to finish things off? Are we show and telling? Are we auctioning? Are we?
No, it's not really an auction. It's just a show and tell. It was something that came into the store, and
they're cool.
I'm not going to throw Adam under the bus by saying he did it without me knowing, because he didn't. But I kind of hadn't clicked, I suppose. So if you're in the market for 10 ounces of gold, and I know that's a lot and it's not for everyone, but at the moment on our listings on our website, we've got 10-ounce gold bars listed. We've got 10-ounce buybacks listed. And I wondered I thought people might like to see what they are, because when I realised what they were, I went, oh, wow, that's a bargain, because the buyback bar price is, peanuts. I use that term very, very loosely, because
that's a lot of peanuts.
Yeah, it is 10 ounces of gold, don't get me wrong. But, these are 10-ounce lunar gold coins at buyback bar prices. So, that's an ox. This one, I've just spun my dial, because this is actually a Series 2 lunar rabbit.
Oh, nice.
That you're getting at buyback bar price. The tiger. A tiger. Another tiger. Are these all tigers? Oxes. Yeah, the rest are all oxes and tigers. So,
wow.
To get them, and they're all in what I would class as new condition. Like this is as we get them from the mint. So somebody's bought them from us, and I do actually know who's bought them. So I'm being vague intentionally. Someone's bought them off us, taken them home, stuck them in their safe. They've not seen the light of day until they've been unpacked and brought straight back here. So if you're in the market for that 10 ounces of gold, and I know it's a big ask, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see, 5 million comments here saying, they're only marketing to the wealthy. That's not what I'm meaning. But if that's, your cup of tea, getting these lunar coins at buyback bar prices.
If you've got a spare Bitcoin that you want to convert into precious metals.
Into real money.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's cool. That was a good show and tell.
Yeah. Just something of interest.
Yeah.
And no, we're not giving them away.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
I'll ask you again after the stream.
But look, what is there? There should be 10 in there, I believe. So 13, sorry. It was 130 ounces of gold in that box. See, this is what amazes me about gold. So 130, so it's about 300, call it 400 grand just to use round numbers there. There is $400,000 sitting in that cardboard box there.
Yeah. I could hold it on a USB though.
Yes, but we can burn your USB and there's nothing left. You burn this and you've still got a puddle of
still on the blockchain. Provided I've got my seed phrase that you've just burnt.
Speaking of, Michael, we're gonna tease that we're actually doing something on that video soon.
There is a video coming up in the next few weeks that is going to be a very hot video.
Is that all we get?
Yeah.
Oh, it is okay.
No,
we're not going to go any further.
I don't know.
Just clicked.
We've been talking
something
about it.
That's been alluded to.
Yeah.
So it's actually happening. Wow. It took about 12 months to get that off the ground.
Keep
and you've still said, a few weeks away, so that could be a few months.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's either got to happen this week or next year because fire bands come in next week in our area.
Hey, bit of a give up. Yeah, bit of a reveal there.
Yeah.
What is the plan for those 10-ounce coins? Are they going up on the website?
They're already up there.
So they're the buybacks.
Yeah,
someone was saying they couldn't see them up there. Duncan Rose said they're not on website yet. So
they're meant to be up there.
Someone said there was a kilo gold coin that was up there, but
there used to be. I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah, if I just put in 10 ounce, I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, it's not there. Oh, I can't see it either.
Okay, I will send a message to Adam saying you stitched me up.
You lied to me.
Yeah.
How many other lies have I been told by the council?
Adam, here he is. Can you please list the 10 ounce buyback AU? Oops. That's what happens when you type without your eyes on. Buyback AU coins as bars.
This is fascinating.
Yeah,
stuff,
this is
Michael.
real. This is
riveting.
Legitimate insight as to the inner workings.
A complete goose.
There we
go.
Someone's mentioning that there's some scratch and dent packs up on the website at the moment as well.
I have no idea how they got up there. They've slipped that one past me.
Yeah, that's what's gone up instead of these. Jeez.
All right, I reckon we need to call it there.
We do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So look out for those 10 ounce buyback bars up on the web in gold. They will be these coins, or at least 13 of them will be. At least 10 of them will be. I actually have a feeling some may have already sold.
I think they did. I think that's why they disappeared.
Yeah. So there'll be about 10 up there. So grab them while you can. It's going to be a crazy weekend. I've got a wild 21st to go to.
Oh, hey, look out.
And we've also got a couple of videos, or one video releasing over the weekend that's a new format. And I really...
Are we releasing that one? Is that happening?
Wow, you've just committed to it.
Did we decide we were doing it on Saturday?
Oh, yeah. You said we could.
Yeah.
We're doing it? All right. It's happening. We've got a video happening on Saturday.
We've got a video happening on Saturday. It's a new format. I don't know if we like it or we don't like it.
You'll have to let us know.
Yeah, let us, if you could, drop us a comment or a like or a dislike on there so we know if you like that new format. It's a bit more cash.
More cash?
It already sounds like you're off. You're not sold on it. I don't even know what it is yet, but you don't sound impressed.
No, I actually...
it's different.
It's different. I'm just not sure how it's going to play, and I'm not sure I haven't dropped myself into a legal hole. But you
Oh,
know,
really? So it's gonna go. It's gonna
wouldn't be
go
the
off
first
then.
time.
It's gonna go. This is gonna be huge.
Yeah, so let us know how you feel about it when you see that video. There's some unboxings coming next week. Lots of good fun. It'll be an interesting live stream next week. So this will be down to the Bullion Now family live stream, I think we'll call it.
Yeah.
Because it's up to you guys joining in and kicking the can down the road. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Yep.
What are you up to next week, Matt? Anything exciting?
I'm gonna be in Sydney of all places.
Oh, it's the Ander.
It's the Ander show.
So if you're in Sydney next Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday, yeah,
If you're in
21st, 22nd.
Where is it in Sydney?
It's in the Lower Town Hall, and the air conditioning is lackluster to say the least. And I'm tipping it'll be 30 odd degrees. So if you see me looking like just an absolute wreck, you know why. I don't cope so well with the heat. I wish it were a Tassie show.
So if you're in Sydney at the Lower Town Hall,
Yeah.
has that got a suburb attached to it? or-
Sydney.
Okay.
It's right in the guts of it.
Oh, is it?
The town hall, yeah.
Alrighty. So if you're in Sydney next Saturday or
Yeah.
Sunday, go along to the Ander. Give us a quick burst on what the Ander show is.
It's so it's called the Money Expo. It's put on by Ander, and yours truly organises the event. So it's coin dealers from all over the country. So there'll probably be a little bit of bullion floating around the room, but it's predominantly the collectible stuff. So if you happen to be in the area, drop in and say g'day. I'll be shaking hands and kissing babies and all that sort of jazz. So
Who is Ander?
Ander is the Australasian Numismatic Dealers Association, which is a very eloquent way of saying a group of highly regarded coin dealers from all around the country that have gotten together and all abide by a code of ethics. And the function of it is to promote numismatics, coin collecting, the greatest hobby in the world, next to stacking. And it's a hoot. So there's 4 shows that happen all around the country, and as I said, I'm the organizer, so I get the stress-free job of organizing everyone and setting up the hall and standing in the heat and
Herding mosquitoes, mate.
yeah. It's good fun. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing next weekend, and that'll be what I'll be doing on Friday. When you're doing the live stream, I'll be slaving away in the hall, setting up all the tables and whatnot. So should be
stuff.
a hoot. Yeah, I'll give you the full rundown when I get back.
Sounds like a plan. Rubes, what are you up to over the next week?
Well, we've got those videos planned, which I'm very much looking forward to. And yeah, I think I'm also going to Sydney.
Oi, look out.
Yeah,
Get into it.
That's
Place to
it.
be.
clearly the hip happening in place.
So if you need a hand at the Ander show, mate.
Yeah, he knows.
Book it in.
Knows who to reach out to.
All right, so that's it for now. Thank you incredibly very much for joining in and putting up with our tardy start this afternoon.
Yeah.
Again, we apologise for that. I hope you have a very great and very safe weekend, whatever you're doing, however you're celebrating it, and that you kick back and get some rest time in with your family.
Unless you want to come here on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, we're open Saturday, 9 till 1. Come and give Brett, and I think it's Brett and Oscar this weekend.
Oh, very
The
good.
Troopers. Something we don't mention, and I shouldn't do it at this end of the day, but our phone system is closed on Saturdays. I don't know if I've said that before. So, just go easy on the phones on Saturday. You're not going to get anyone to answer them. But yeah, if you're in Melbourne town, come in and see the guys and do a transaction, pick up some stock, or just come in and say good day. They'll appreciate any and all of that. I think that's it.
I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. See
Been
you
a
next
pleasure.
time.
See you next time.
See ya.